I'd like to introduce the candidates to you at Mic 1, Michael Fougere, Mic 2, Jim Elliott, Mic 3, Mecca Okochi, Mic 4, Marion Donnelly, Mic 5, Tom Brown, Mic 6, Chad Novak, Mic 7, Liz Brass, and Mic 8, Charles Weeble. Are you ready, candidates? Not quite. So we have opening remarks, 60 seconds for each candidate. Michael. Yes, we're going to start soon as you start speaking.
Good morning, everyone. This election is about seizing our opportunities for the future. It's about building for our future and showing leadership on how to go forward. I've been very strong in my leadership campaign and presenting going forward. From my perspective, leadership is moving our city forward in a shared vision for the future. I was very clear in my campaign. I'm the only candidate who supports the stadium and supports the Regina Revitalization Project. All of the candidates have changed position or been vague on that. From my perspective, we need to move forward on that. My other priorities are the housing summit to deal with affordable housing. That's a crisis in our city. We need a long-term infrastructure program with the federal government to deal with the backlog of infrastructure concerns that we have. And of course, financial accountability, using your tax dollars wisely, is something I've dealt with for 15 years in council, and that's still a priority for me. It's a very important election that you get out and vote. From my perspective, I will show
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Jim?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jim Elliott. My campaign has been focused principally in 3 areas. Housing for all, which means everyone gets a chance to have a home in this community. Economic and ecological sustainability is the fact that if you don't have that, you don't have a future. And lastly, no one is left behind, because I realize that everybody in this community has an asset that we can use in this community, and we can use that to build our community. We're in a very tight spot at this point in time, both economically as well as in the sense that we will have a new council coming October 24th. So my hope in all of this is to bring people together, to work together, and to be in a position of strength, because in fact that's the way we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Mecca?
My name is Mecca Okochi. This election is not just about who becomes the next mayor. It's more important than that. The question in this election is what kind of future we want to leave behind for future generations. This is about 9 fundamentally different visions of Regina's future. And you have the power to make that decision. Now, Mr. Fougere said he's the only one that supports the stadium. Mr. Fougere, you're wrong. You support one version, one plan. There's nothing wrong with a better plan. So let us look ahead, ensure that we leave a Regina that is better for future generations. And that is why I am in this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mecca. Mary? Good morning. My name is Marion Donnelly, and you might know me through my work in the arts community, and may be wondering whether my background means I have any understanding of business, today's economy, or the city's growth. So let me clarify my background. I did spend 30 years working as an entrepreneur and as a corporate executive in the music industry, but it was on the business side, not as an artist. The only keyboard that I play is the one that's attached to my computer. I hold a master's degree in business administration from the University of Regina, and I teach in the business admin faculty there. I'm fully aware of the growth that is happening in our city, and I support without question the need to grow our economy, to create jobs, to build the Regina region as a significant hub in Western Canada. And to be clear, I do support the stadium. The new designs and location are quite exciting to me, but I am not convinced that this current financial proposal is the best we can do. Let's do our best. Let's make sure we're getting it right.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tom?
Regina isn't big.
Regina being big is not the best thing we can do. A good example is Excel. They're a big company, and look at what they can do for us. Anyway, what I believe in is a compact city where the fire department can get around easily without having to have a lot of problems finding out where you live. Also, the ambulances and the police department, and that our infrastructure. The bigger the bigger and the smaller we are, the more expensive the infrastructure should take place. I believe in a city that's compact, where we can all live together, easy to control by the police department, and I think we can do better than we've done so far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Chad?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. My name is Chad Boga. I'm a certified management accountant. I trust that everybody involved in the election quite closely, so I won't tell you too much about myself other than visit my website, voteact2012.blogspot.com. It's no coincidence that I'm wearing what I am today because I've been told, and I think a lot of citizens of Regina have been told, that anybody that's against the current RRI is anti-Irish, anti-Progress, anti-Regina. I'm here today to tell you that no, we're not. We're only simply about being financially responsible. I'm an accountant. I love numbers. I want to make sure that we have a Regina that is still here in 20 years. It is not bankrupt in 20 years. And the current proposal could put us in that position. So please make the right decision on October 24th and make sure that we have a Regina that we can last for another 100 years. My proposal is to renovate Mosaic Stadium. The cost of $5.8 million back in 2008. It brought us new washrooms, it brought us new seating. It was good enough for us back in 2008. It should be good enough for us now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Liz?
I'm Dr. Liz Grass, registered doctoral psychologist, vice president of Grass Homes Limited. Business drives growth. We have to be mindful of your money and spend it wisely. Generate revenue to pay for infrastructure, like a foreign trade zone, like a housing development corporation. Support business and the film industry with the Mayor's Film Office Commission. Since I announced in May, I said we need to build a stadium, but we need to look at options. The Dome Stadium is what private investors will invest in, so let's look at that as the same price. The tax for that stadium, a cup of coffee for residents. A business? One owner asked to meet with me, said he'll have to pay $15,000 a year. There's still $80 million to come from what? Some of the revenue? That $50,000 just doubled. Were you aware? I've been asking for a while. Michael Bouger said he couldn't answer that. We need to get the city back on track, and we need to work together to do that. 40% of our sewage infrastructure is over 70 years old. We're just waiting for a crisis to happen. We can live better. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Charles?
Hi, I'm Charles Ween. By round of applause, how's everybody doing? No, I'm sorry, just kidding. That's against the rules. I want to thank my friends from back home, Cindy and Carol, that are helping serve breakfast this morning, and everyone for inviting us all here. That's what talk is. So it reminds me of a story. Actually, this past Sunday in church, the story was told about the rich man that approached Jesus and asked how he was going to get into heaven. And Jesus said, you have to sell everything you own and give it to the poor and follow me. And my point's not to, and then it goes on about the camel through the eye of the needle and so on. I don't want to judge or criticize anybody. For me, my plan for mayor is...
Thank you, Charles. Tim? Okay, candidates, we have questions. I will call you up. You have 30 seconds, and then I will say thank you. First question, do you support the continued growth in Regina's economy? If yes, why? And if no, why not? Chad.
Thank you. 100% absolutely I support growth in Regina. I believe we do need it in a controlled fashion. We've seen where we can get without being controlled, without planning it properly. I think that we need to make sure that we have a 20-year plan, a 30-year plan, because otherwise we get into a 0.6% vacancy rate. Job numbers, we're looking for people to come into work, bring in Ireland and all over. I want to make sure that we can do it in a proactive approach rather than being out. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Mika.
Absolutely, I support. Thank you.
Start again. Yes.
Absolutely, I support growth. Now, my job is, I work as Vice President and Director of Economic Development at the Regina Regional Opportunities Commission. As I look around this room, I see people that I've worked with to advance growth in Regina and in other municipalities, in the vicinity. So, of course, I support growth. But the question I keep saying is this: we must emphasize intelligent growth. Let us look at the future. Regina looks too great right now. But what about 10, 20 years? What kind of legacy we want to leave to our children? And that is the goal.
Thank you, Mika. Tim. Not here, sorry. Charles.
I support. Yeah, I support the road. I really don't like the slogan about keep Regina growing. I think there's thousands of people here who don't see any growth. Maybe they see growth in their tuition or their rent going up, those costs. But I think that that's going to happen. We gotta make sure that the people that have been here for a long time see that they're included. This growth has to include everyone.
Thank you, Charles. Tom.
Absolutely, I think that we should be able to go, but not out. Infrastructure is easy to look after. Everything else is easy to maintain if we have a structure that are compact and not a big sprawl. We don't need a great big large city that has a lot of roads to look after. We need a small city with a lot of people that the growth is up instead of out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Michael.
Well, we absolutely do support growth. It's fundamental to our quality of life and growth of our community. We want people to stay here, live here, invest here, create jobs here. This is fundamental to our growth. The goal of the city is to ensure that we have a plan for the future and people know the rules of engagement when they come to invest. The rules are clear, fair, and transparent for them.
Thank you, Michael. Liz.
I support growth as long as we plan in a responsible and sustainable way. We need to plan ahead, and we need to look at our infrastructure, increase our density in our brownfield development, and plan our greenfield development in a very pragmatic way so that we're not taxing ourselves down the road. We need to protect our sense of community as well, and we can plan very unique communities as we already have in Regina.
Thank you, Liz. Marion. I think it's good now. Is it good now? Yes. Okay, good. Yes.
Yes, of course, I support growth in Regina. I think that the growth has to be managed strategically. I think that we need to be looking at Regina as a regional economic entity, not just as our city. We have to be connecting with the Yarn Sherwood, with the other surrounding communities to make sure that we're growing strategically, looking at the way that we're accessing the global transportation hub. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Jim.
Just check. Growth without a focus or a future in mind, I think, is not the appropriate way to go. I think we also have to disconnect the idea that we physically have to go and expand our resources, expand our capacity. Growth in unavailability of housing or other infrastructure problems, I think, is the wrong way to go.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, candidates. Next question. Do you support the Regina Revitalization Initiative? If yes, why? And if no, why not? 30 seconds for each candidate. Michael.
Again, I absolutely support the initiative. The stadium is absolutely fundamental to our growth, but it's also the first step in a major redevelopment. The Herb Mosaic site will be cleared away for 700 new affordable housing units. And the CP lands, that development as well. This is a generational opportunity for us to move forward. And no other city in Canada has this opportunity to shape our city the way we want to. This is planning for the future, and I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Charles.
I do not support the initiative. think there's more important priorities than that. Give me some extra seconds. Yeah, there's bigger fish to fry. There's no way we should put ourselves into debt for 30 years for 600 or 700 units that we don't even know how far in the future that is. I heard 16 years before that's all complete. So there's more urgent things to do.
Thank you, Charles. Chad.
As I said earlier, I support renovating Mosaic Stadium. RRI, as good as it sounds, there's no reason why it can't be separated, and I've talked to some councillors, and if it was separated, they would be 100% dead set against it. So that being said, it's quite obvious that if we did just the stadium, it wouldn't be happening. And the key word with the affordable housing is it's up to 700 units. One, satisfies staff requirement. And finally, CP lands, I love the idea of developing that land. This is something.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Marion.
Yes, I support the Regina Revitalization Initiative. I think that this is a fantastic opportunity for our city. I'm not sold on the idea of 700 new housing units on the former Mosaic site because I'm not sure anybody would want to live next to the tracks and the exhibition park. But I think that area could be developed into a mix of commercial, hotel, retail, galleries, as well as maybe some high-rise apartments. The CP rail yards, I think, is also an excellent opportunity.
Thank you, Marion. Tom?
Yes, I believe in it. I think that I live in North Central, and I hope that it'll revitalize North Central. We have lots of land out there. We don't need to go outside the city to get more land. We need to have everybody brought up at the same time. We all can't be rich. We all can't be with the little guy down there. The bottom feeder cannot be crawling around on the ground looking for scrap food. Yes, everything in this idea has to be.
Thank you, Tom. Jim?
My idea, the issue has to be repackaged. I think the idea of the stadium, I think, is economically out of our range. I think we're extending ourselves way too far economically and putting future generations into jeopardy of not being able to prepare their infrastructure or, in fact, get to a housing issue. We just need more houses.
Thank you, Jim. Mika?
Let me focus on the component which we know is a major thing that is needed to be in the stadium. What I'm calling for is the creation of a way to pay for that stadium belonging to the future. I'm an engineer. I'm handling major projects. And we know that in any financial model, it's not the construction of a stadium that's the problem. It's a long-term operation. Now what I'm calling for is the creation of an infrastructure savings account that captures foreign investments in our province and puts that aside so that we can build the stadium and operate for the long term. Now that is sensible long-term development. So that's what
Thank you, Mika. Liz?
With the information we have, I do support the CP lands development. That looks like a great opportunity to revitalize our downtown, connect across the tracks. The stadium plan, I have not been in support of that, and I think it's the way the concept has been thrown at us. We haven't done our due diligence to look at options. A dome stadium can be built for the same price. Private sector will not invest in an open-air stadium, but they may invest in a dome stadium, and I think we can work together to do that. We need to collaborate, and operating costs are up to 75% less with a
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Next question, 30 seconds for each candidate. What would you do to address the housing shortage in Regina, with a particular emphasis on social and/or affordable housing? Mika?
I believe that this is a fundamental economic issue. It's an economic imperative. Because if we're going to attract people and have them stay there, they need to live in houses. Now what I propose is, within the first 100 days in office, I've said that we're going to create a housing task force to deal with attainable housing. We know the models, we've seen this, we're not the first city to have this problem. Calgary has an attainable housing corporation that works and sustainable. We know we've seen so many housing first strategies across Canada and North America. We need to get to work. Enough of the talk. No
Thank you,
housing
Mika.
summits. Thank you.
Marion?
The city is already halfway through developing a housing strategy. They began this in January 2012. I propose that we continue finishing that strategy. Once we have the plan in place, we will be able to pursue new funding sources from the federal and provincial governments, because the one guarantee is that if you don't have a plan, they won't fund it. I want to put together a task force as well, but I think that this task force will be focused on implementing that plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Jim?
My idea is to come back to a task force that was given to this council 12 years ago that hasn't been implemented. Their principal focus was to set up a housing commission to bundle all of the necessary services and ideas and take action on that. As mayor, I will be also putting that as my highest priority, but I think we need to get rid of the single-use parking lots downtown and add on housing.
Thank you, Jim. Liz?
The city housing strategy established that we need a land bank. We have land now. We just purchased land. We have an opportunity here. We need a housing task force to assess the need. Then we need to look at establishing a housing development corporation at arm's length in the community, managed by businesses and residents, and look at a bond issue, possibly RSP and RESP funded if we can have it eligible for that. And let's work together and build. We need to build.
Thank you, Liz. Charles?
I think we have to make sure we listen to all the people that are really directly affected by this problem, and the strategies that are being built. It has to include the voice of those people that are affected.
Thank you, Charles. Tom?
We don't need a task force, we need to get busy. And I'm a renovator, and I've been renovating houses in North Central pretty nearly all my life. And these are the people that need the housing. You guys have money to buy whatever house you want. You can have your $500,000 homes, $1 million homes. We need houses that people can buy with no down payment, and then they can live, and instead of paying rent and their house and their. I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Michael?
Affordable housing is the single biggest issue facing the city. It's constrained growth. My platform, I have a housing summit that's created immediately to bring the federal government, the province, the city, and municipal leaders around the city to bring solutions right away. The city has put $11.5 million of your tax dollars to encourage housing over the last 7 years. We can't do it alone. We need the senior government who's responsible for housing to come forward with practical solutions today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Chad?
I believe in 100% action, no more studies, no more summits, no more outside corporations. We've spent millions of dollars on studies over the last several years. Mr. Regina said that we spent $1.5 billion over the last 7 years trying to encourage housing. Look how well that's worked. We need action now. The RRI addresses it in 5 to 10, 15 years. Let's do something now. I have a plan. It's on my website. I don't bore you with the details. I'm not 30 seconds. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Next question. What is your perspective on the appropriate level of municipal debt? Tom?
I'm not in agreement to borrowing $300 million or paying the interest on the $300 million. Maybe you guys can afford it, but there's a lot of people out there that can't. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Chad?
As we all know from our personal and business lives, debt is a requirement to move forward. We need to do it in a controlled manner, though, and the way we're having it set up right now, we're putting ourselves in a position to become bankrupt in a few years, maybe 20 years, sometime like that. We're maxing out credit card. We can't do that responsibly, and it's costing extra for your tax dollars, for your businesses, and your tax dollars on a personal level. I want it to be on a reasonable level. We have a decent level right now, 90 million on a 200 million credit limit. Let's try and keep it around that limit. It costs us interest to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Marion?
Here we go. Okay. So say my hero right now is the mayor of Mississauga, Hazel. She's 90-something. She's been mayor there forever. Mississauga is a city, the only city in Canada with without debt, which I think is absolutely astounding. But I realize that we're not in that position right now. We are in debt. We will continue to be in debt. We need to have a long-term, sustainable plan that sees us maintain our debt at a manageable level. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Michael?
Strategic use of debt and low interest rates is key. We only have property taxes to invest. We have one of the lowest debt rates in Western Canada. Our credit rating has gone up. We have $144 million in reserves to build the future, $55 million for our wastewater treatment plant. We're very prudent in how we have debt, and we have very strong financial backing. But debt, in terms of strategic investment with low interest rates, is proven to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Mika?
I very much understand the use of debt as an instrument to fund infrastructure projects. That is what this notice is. It makes sense. But here's what I'm arguing. If you're going to use debt as an instrument, there are two fundamental requirements. Number one, it must be a high-yield project so that you can have a good long-term sustainable plan to pay back your debt quickly. And number two, it must be something that is fundamental to your community, such as roads, water systems. But that is how you use debt instruments in municipalities. And that is what we must start to think about. We can give debt to our
Thank you,
children.
Mika. Charles?
I think no amount of debt is acceptable at my house, my personal family budget. I don't like being in debt at all. I think the city being in debt shows that we're not finding the balance of our community members, contributing as they should wherever they can.
Thank you, Charles. Liz?
We need to be fiscally responsible, and we need to plan in accordance with that. Our development levies must meet the inflation rate, so the rest of us aren't paying for that with our taxes. Generate revenue, foreign trade zone, housing development corporation, lots of opportunity, and we need to eliminate waste. So let's be efficient at City Hall. Let's look at our attrition rates. Let's just be practical in what we're doing, and we'll work together.
Thank you, Liz. Jim?
My goal is economic sustainability, and our current path shouldn't include any additional debt. We need to work within our means rather than necessarily punching above our belt. As some of them indicated, we need to get back to a position of zero debt. That will give us the greatest resilience against any of the big problems that may come along.
Thank you, Jim. Next question. Regina is growing, but not everyone is part of the prosperity. What about those who are left behind? Chad?
This is near and dear to my heart because I grew up from basically nothing in Moose Jaw. My parents worked very hard to make sure that there was food on the table, make sure the roof over our head, and instilled the value of hard work to me. And if it wasn't for what they did, I wouldn't be the person I am today. We want to make sure that every one of those people out there, whether they make $1 or $1 million, they're all paying attention to the city and a responsible level. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Michael?
The city works in partnerships with the province and other community-based organizations to ensure those who are homeless are taken care of. Certainly we talked about the housing summit to deal with affordable housing. Below market housing is critical to stabilizing a family and helping them find work. We do training programs to the city of Regina and other organizations. It's a very complex issue, but the responsibility of the transfer of funds is from the province to people, not the city of Regina.
Thank you, Michael. Liz?
We need to ensure that no one is left behind. Look at the advocating that we can do and the involvement with the homeless as partnering strategy with the federal government. And on the ground here, we need to be welcoming of our new immigrants who are coming. Some are very talented, some come with nothing and they're from refugee camps. Our youth are at risk. We need to help them learn a trade, to get them on track too, so that they can have a start and be fully contributing to our society. We have to work together. We've got to help our citizens and have more partners.
Thank you, Liz. Mika?
Every socioeconomic study shows this, that housing is fundamental fundamental to success. And that is why this is very important to me. Within the first 100 days in office, we will have a tax force that tax efficient housing. When we get people in good homes, then they can begin to grow. We also have to diversify our economy. We have an economy that is based on resources right now. That is not a long-term sustainable economy. So let's begin to invest more in entrepreneurship, get young people working, creating jobs for other people. But these are the ideas that will move us forward in the long term. Thank you.
Thank you, Mika. Charles?
I think the origin of all the wealth that we're talking about initially comes from exploiting First Nations people and taking this land from them. All that's where all these resources, that's where it all comes from. And they're the people that are most left behind disproportionately. I think that has to be part of this conversation.
Thank you, Charles. Marion?
Education and training are key to breaking the cycles of poverty, but I also think that housing is a priority. If people don't have beds sleeping at night, they're less likely to pursue education, training, that sort of thing. We have to take a full approach to social issues in our community. We have to work in partnership with the other levels of government and with all the community-based organizations who do such great work in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Jim?
My campaign from the beginning is back to building his level behind. I think the first program that I put forward is Housing First. That's a given. I think it's cheaper to deal with issues if people have homes. My second area is around education and involvement of the partners in our community, such as universities, training, neighborhood programs. I think we need to talk to our community first.
Thank you, Jim. Tom?
Well, you won't get anything lower than a single-parent girl with a baby. I took on a program, and my wife and I decided that we were going to have a place for single-parent families. We moved from a small house to the old cellar block to 23 Hillsdale. I think I did my share already of trying to bring the low-income family. And with that, when working with Central Mortgage and Housing, loan this.
Thank you, Tom. Next question. Is Regina competitive in terms of property tax for residents and businesses? If yes, what will you do to keep it competitive? And if no, what would you do to make us competitive? Mika?
No, we're not competitive. We're not doing too badly. That's the reality. We always have to try to ensure that we're bridging the gap between commercial taxes and resident taxes. And this is one of the things we need to do is to work with both residents as well as businesses to understand where we can find those efficiencies and reduce the tax gap. Now, the way property taxes work at this is just to pay our operation and our capital projects. That's a very bad model. We need to find new mechanisms to pay for capital projects, and that is why I'm talking about.
Thank you, Mika. Chad?
This has been a hot topic on the campaign trail, and no, we're not competitive right now. We're probably one of the highest in the country. And this is something that I want to be able to address immediately. My goal over the 4 years of my term will be 0% tax increases, and in fact, I want to actually see if we can actually reduce it. The way to do that is to eliminate these constant studies that are costing us billions of dollars, and also do some trimming at City Hall. And we'll remain competitive for the rest of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Marion?
I think we are fairly competitive. I think that we're managing a balance between property taxes and business taxes. I know business taxes are maybe not at the same level that they used to be, but I think that everything has to be taken with a balanced and thoughtful approach. If we have to look at incremental decreases or increases to maintain that competitiveness, that's what we have to do.
Thank you, Marion. Jim?
Taxes are a balance between, in fact, involving the public as much as possible and giving them the sense that the parties that they want are in fact the parties that we get.
Thank you, Jim. Tom?
Well, I'd like to be a mayor, and I'll use your money very appropriately I'm not going to fool around with it. I'm not going to try and steal it. I want everybody to be able to enjoy this economic thing that we're happening right now. And if we don't all enjoy it, we're going to be very mistaken. All you have to do is look in the TV and you'll see what happens in other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Liz?
I met with Marilyn at the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, and she showed me the rates for Saskatchewan for Regina here. No, we're not competitive as far as business tax is concerned. And a citizen phoned me last week and said he's paying 3 times as much tax here in Regina as he did in Edmonton. No, we're not competitive. And we have to stop relying on tax to pay for our infrastructure. We need to plan properly and generate revenue and be mindful of how we're spending your money.
Thank you, Liz. Michael?
Yes, Regina is competitive, but we can always do better. We look to the Chamber to inform us how they see we can do things in the future. But the array of services that we provide is only paid for by your property taxes. So it is a balance. We've done a core service review. One is in the array right now, where we focus on what needs to be done and stop doing other things. And so it's very important that we do that. But we can do better on taxes, no question about that. We're going through reassessment, and we'll talk about how that impacts the community in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Charles?
Yeah, that will always be a constant struggle to find that balance. I think we need to make sure we're listening to our people that are here and find that balance according to the distinct things going on right here in our city. It needs to be welcoming and good for people to have a chance to own a home or to run a business and serve the rest of the community.
Thank you, Charles. Candidates, we're going to go now to the section of the debate where you ask each other questions. You will have a maximum of 15 seconds to pose that question. I will be rigorous in terms of application of this rule. When a candidate is asked a question, you have 30 seconds to respond. I also will make sure that you stay to your 30 seconds. No single candidate can be asked more than 3 questions in total. So we're going to begin with the questions. Nika.
My question is Mr. Foucher. What is your long-term plan for creating and managing the construction of this new stadium? Because right now you're going to $300 million tax increase over 10 years, for 30 years of loan payments.
Thank you, Nika. Michael?
The long-term plan is that we have a $270 million project. We have told the public what it would cost to maintain it over 30 years. And we've talked about minor increases to pay for the maintenance. It's very transparent. This has been open to the public for quite a while. These numbers are quite clear. $72 million by the city of Regina, $80 million by the province, $100 million loan that we made by recognition. The long-term goal is that we will be sustained by property taxes as a way to move forward.
Thank you. Jim?
My question is also for Michael Foucher. The question is, if given a viable plebiscite this coming November, would you honor this and call for a public vote on whether we should put public funds in the city?
Thank you, Jim. Michael?
From my perspective, the election coming up next week is de facto the referendum on this issue. We need to move forward on the stadium. We need to move forward on the revitalization project. What we have now is some signatures going forward. We have no idea whether there's enough to do that or not. I wait to see what happens. That's a legal process outside of the debate. But from my perspective, we're here about leading the city, and I think the people who will speak on October 24th, whether they want to referendum or not, whether they want the stadium or not. For me, we lead.
Thank you, Michael. Marion?
My question is for Liz, just because I knew Michael was going to get asked everything. I want to ask about your idea for a foreign trade zone at the Global Transportation Hub. When our most pressing need for the GTH is better local access and developing jobs.
Thank you, Marion. Oh, sorry.
What do you mean by a foreign trade zone, and why is this a priority?
Liz?
Foreign trade zone is a way for us to catch up with our debt, and this is how we can create products in a very value-added way and be able to export them. So it supports our business and also helps new business to get involved and support that. It's a win-win because we get our tax base and businesses will also work with the province and federal government. They will also save on their taxes. So it's a fantastic way for us to help get ahead. It's part of our plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Chad?
My question is to Becca. I'm a strong believer in ethics and dignity for campaigns, non-traditional politicians, I guess. The question is, there's been accusations over the last couple of days about poll bombing by your campaign manager. Can you please address that?
Thank you.
In an election where we have a $293 million pension deficit, we have an RI project to plan for. Mr. Novak is asking me about what happens on Twitter. I mean, it's irrelevant. I don't look at those things. Those are one scientific polls, for God's sakes. Come on. This is a serious election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Charles?
I'm going to ask Mika, how would you achieve transparency and accountability in how city council works?
I've said this again. Within my first 100 days in office, we're going to establish a Regina Transparency Office. We're going to ensure that we have a code of conduct for all councillors and the mayor. And we're going to ensure that we have strong audit functions. And what this means is this. You're going to see reports from the Transparency Office at the same time the councillors and the mayor sees the reports. So there's no way anybody can tamper with that. But we're going to restore confidence once again in people, in the governments of the city, so that people have that confidence.
Thank you, Mika. Michael?
My question is to Liz. You talked a bit about transparency and the need for greater transparency. The city just won an award a couple weeks ago for transparency from the Privacy Commissioner's office. And I'm wondering if you've seen that, please, what it says, and what it says
Thank you, Michael.
transparent government.
The key is there is transparency, we're just not transparent enough. We haven't released information about the stadium. We're not being told about where that $80 million is coming from. That's one issue. The library, there's no transparency about the plans there. People are wondering what is going on, and yet they're asking for debt for that. There's no transparency about what was the plan with the Masons. It just goes on and on and on. And I think that, yes, there may be an award. We've been very good on the website. The documents are there. You can find a lot of the information there if you want. But
Thank
not
you,
transparent
Liz.
enough. Thank you.
Tom? Tom?
Well, maybe I'd like to address this to Chad. Why does he really want to be mayor?
Chad?
Thank you, Tom. I want to be mayor because I'm passionate about change. I'm passionate about making effective change from a direct standpoint. I've tried my hardest over the last several months, over the last several years, to do it from a taxpayer's perspective, with no luck. I think going into the mayor's seat, I can actually do that and listen to people, make those changes that you want to see in your city, and make sure that Regina is not only the proudest place to call home, but also the proudest place to visit. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Next candidate, you have an opportunity to have closing remarks. You have 60 seconds to do so. We're going to go in reverse order of your introductions. Pardon me? Oh, you didn't ask a question? Sorry. Liz. Here you are, Liz.
My question is for Chad Novak. What do you think about Michael Fuger's track record with planning for sustainability, insufficient funding with infrastructure, and charging business high tax, for example, the stadium?
It has been quite obvious over the last several months, but I honestly don't believe our current council, specifically Mr. Fuger and Mr. Fiaco, has been interested in representing everyone. We need to have more transparency, we need to have better planning. City Square Plaza is a perfect example of how poor planning happens, and we haven't learned from that. I don't believe we should trust these people in terms of a $278 million project when they can't manage a $10 million project. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Liz, for the question. So now we'll go to closing comments, 60 seconds for each person. Charles.
To finish my story from being there, my plan is, if I get elected, I want to share half of that salary and give that to all of the many organizations in the city that do really important work, meeting the most basic needs of people here in Regina. I think it's important that there's a spirit of respect and friendship among people that work together and get the job done of setting policy and guiding this city into the future. And just to really, truly be inclusive. I get tired of all these words, it's all so much talk. I want to see real action happen. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Charles. Liz?
We must plan new development in a more sustainable, responsible way to reduce our infrastructure costs. On the grid, increase density, improve traffic flow, transit, walking, bike paths, generate revenue through repair infrastructure. We can live better, respect citizens and the private sector, and collaborate. All we need is someone to listen and act. I'm a business owner. I will run this city like a business, and I will take it forward. We are a world-class city. I'm Dr. Liz Brass, and I ask for your support, and I'd be honored to be your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Chad?
I just want to open up here with a quick show of hands. How many of you are aware of your money funding a billboard recently that told people not to sign a petition? That's what I kind of thought. I've been told that every one of the people that were members of the Chamber of Commerce were aware of that and knew how the money was being spent. That's how your money is being spent. I was told this by Mr. John Hopkins himself. I don't find that respectfully. I believe in democracy. I want each and every one of you to leave here today knowing that there's 9 of us up here, about 8 of us today. If I'm elected, I promise to work with these people, and you can get the best of all 9 of us and make sure that Regina moves forward in a progressive and controlled fashion. Long term, I want to see a retractable roof dome to stadium somewhere in Regina, because it's what we need to have a year-round facility. October 24th, please vote for me. Chad, no matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Tom?
I don't know whether you people know it or not. This is the most important election we've had in the city of Regina. We have opportunities from the provincial government to do something about our infrastructure. We have to make sure that the money is spent appropriately and that everything is cleaned up that needs cleaning up. I live in North Central. We have trouble with the garbage. I don't think that any one of you have as much trouble with garbage. Anyway, I'd like to invite everybody here to my inner circle when I become mayor, and that it's very important that I get all the people we need to keep this city running. We need lots of education, lots of ideas, and I know that there's a lot of great people that have the money to help and the money to do it, and let's get busy and do it. We can't do it alone, and we can't do it because we're poor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Marion? This is an exciting time of growth in Regina. Thoughtful leadership is needed to ensure that this growth is managed in a sustainable, progressive manner. Members of Regina's next City Council will be inheriting a significant debt and carrying enormous responsibility on their shoulders. They will be making decisions that define the city's image and character and influence our quality of life. And we must consider our quality of life with every decision we make. Vision and planning are 2 of my strengths. People and community building are 2 of my passions. Combined with business skills, strong work ethic, and inspiring leadership, we will set a course for Regina that leads to greater prosperity, exceptional quality of life, and new opportunities for both private citizens and the business community. I have the right combination of education, experience, intelligence, integrity, and solid business sense to serve as your next mayor. It's time for change, Regina, time for new leadership. My name is Marion Donnelly. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Marion. Mika?
When I look into the future, city built on a solid physical and digital infrastructure. I see a city that attracts some of the best minds and retains some of the best minds from across the world. A vibrant economy, a creative economy. That is the kind of Regina I see. The question in this election is what kind of future do we want for our children? When our children or people in generations to come clean through the pages of history and read about this moment in our history, will they be inspired that we made the right decision? That is the question in this election. Now, in closing, I want to thank all the candidates. This has been our 8th debate. It's been an extraordinary honor to take the journey with you. This is the 2020 Regina session. I just want to take some time to thank you all. And no matter what happens on October 24th, you have my best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Good morning. We're at a crossroads today, and we need to take the right path if we want prosperity and good quality of life in the future. Regina needs to be an intentional community, not just one that's voted on the currency today. We need people who are paddlers that will pull us in the right direction. We also need spotters that are looking forward to know what direction we need to go, as well as watching those rapids ahead. We also need helpers in this community, making sure that the leaks and problems are resolved and solved. My interest is being a caring community, a working community, a community that is taking action every day, that is always wishing to have a better community. So October 24th, I encourage all of you to get out and be the good citizens of this city.
Thank you, Jim. Michael.
We live in times of extraordinary opportunity and wealth. Just an incredible time to be in Regina, and I'm very pleased to have been in council for 15 years to help build that prosperity and that vision. And I want to be your mayor over the next 4 years to continue that growth and deal with the issues that face us today. Housing is an issue, infrastructure is an issue, wise use of tax dollars is very important. The safe community are all issues that every community faces, but we are extraordinary. I love this city. I've been here for 25 years. I've spent my time working in the city, and I'd love to be your mayor on October 24th. Please elect me as your mayor. I also want to thank the other candidates for being here. It's been a great debate over the last several weeks, and thank you for the chamber for putting this out together. Thank you very much, but please get out and vote on October 24th. It's absolutely essential your voice is heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I want to thank the audience for listening so attentively to the candidates. I want to thank each candidate. Charles Reed, Liz Brass, Chad Novak, Tom Brown, Marion Donnelly, Mika Okochi, Jim Elliott, and Michael Bougier. Can we give them another hand?
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for our moderator, Wi-Fi today. Thank all of you for being here and encourage all of you to be part of the democratic process and please vote on November 24th. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for the pleasure of being the CEO of this chamber for 12 years. So thank you very much for that. We also have a couple of other things happening today. We have Daryl Sittler, Toronto, I believe, Go Wave Go. He's going to come in to speak at noon, and then we have our trade show opening up at 1:30. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful Regina Day.